Him. Oh my God. Horror has been in a great spot this year. Between Sinners earlier this year, The Long Walk just coming out, and now tonight, Him. It's been amazing. Y'all, this is a film that I was looking forward to for a very long time. If you're anything like me, you thought this film was the only other real contender to come out this year that would maybe dethrone Sinners as the movie of the year. Later found out that may be another movie, but that's a conversation for another day. This film, though, it has a very much a strong case to be the movie of the year.
You're now watching The Captain.
So I just got back from watching the movie and I had a blast. They did a really good job at the presentation for this thing. They gave us in AMC these like season catalog books where usually if you guys are any kind of a sports fan and you go to maybe like an NFL game or a basketball game or whatever it may be, they usually give you these books that have things like the team's schedule in it, teams are going to play, the things of that nature. It's kind of like a meta book. It even has things in here like a full poster for the actual team in itself. So it's fun, a good bit of promotional stuff that they added into the film. Getting into the film itself, there's one thing though I need to clear up for people that may have some form of confusion or maybe they don't keep up with a lot of the background information and how things work with movies being made. This film is a Jordan Peele produced film. Production wise, he did not have any kind of direction or creativity added into how this film was directed or written. Who directed this film and who partially wrote this film, you're gonna be looking at a man by the name of Justin Tipping. He did an amazing job with this film, but I will say this one thing. If you watch this film without knowing that information and you left believing that this was a Jordan Peele movie, I could understand why you think that, because this movie very much so felt like a Jordan Peele movie in spirit. From the way it was shot with the amount of symbolism that was placed everywhere to some of the writing and some of the ways the scares were built up, it very much so emulated a lot of the things that Jordan Peele has done with his films since he started making horror movies. So I don't know if that's just Justin Tipping having a lot of inspiration from Jordan Peele, or maybe he's watched a lot of Jordan Peele movies and has taken little things here and there, but it definitely felt like Jordan Peele shot this thing. Looking into this film, I want to start off with letting you guys know how this movie looks from a cinematography standpoint. And then in the second part of this video, we're gonna get into the plot synopsis and a little bit about all the other aspects that go into this movie. For the most part, this movie was shot really well. Like I said before, it's shot like a Jordan Peele film. It's very much so a lot of wide angle shots where you're getting a lot of establishing shots, a lot of over the head stuff, kind of like making the actors or the characters in this feel like they're minor and small in the whole grand scheme of the world that's going on. And a lot of the imagery that they set up in regards to certain buildings or certain pieces of architecture in the film is very much so understandably set up to where it's looking like it's maybe representative of the devil or devil horns or things of that nature. There's a few things I caught, but for the most part, I wasn't super hyper focused on the details of like the shots. I was really looking at the plot synopsis and the message that I was trying to come across. And just like that, I want to go ahead and skip through that and get directly into this plot, because when we're talking about a film like this or any other movie that Jordan Peele's attached to, the story and the message that's getting pushed and trying to be conveyed is always the most important thing. And in this film, it really is going to rub a lot of people the wrong way, I feel like. This is a movie that, for the most part, is exactly what the marketing promoted it as. A film where you're seeing a young up-and-coming superstar quarterback going to work and train with a quarterback who's considered the GOAT of his team, and he's a big inspiration for him. And for 7 days, he goes to this man's compound in like the middle of Texas in the desert somewhere, and they train and work on being the best quarterback possible so that he can take over the reins and be the next quarterback, generational quarterback at that, of the franchise that Marlon Wayne's character, Isaiah White, is the quarterback for. In this film, the main character's name is Cameron Cade, who's played by Tyreek Withers. Dude does an amazing job, and dude got in amazing shape for this film. I don't know if this is just him year round, but dude was shredded for this movie, and he really fit the bill of being and believable as being a quarterback in the way that they depicted this stuff. I want to give you guys a little bit of information about myself and a little insight into me that will kind of go into a lot of the ways I perceive this movie. I am from Middle Georgia in the deep South in the States here, for my people that are watching the channel from overseas. If you're from the South, there's an understanding that a lot of people that are from the South will understand that football is God in the South. I'm a pretty big dude. I'm 6'2", around like 200 plus pounds. I've always been a big guy my entire life. So when I would go around middle and high school, I'm used to having certain coaches or people that are associated with the football team for the school at the time see me and be like, hey man, why don't you come play for the team? You're a big guy. And that always just made me feel weird, and I never really wanted to play because I always felt football always gave me me this weird like gladiator type of energy that I felt like I didn't want to be a part of. I just never was interested in the sport. I'm a big basketball guy myself. This movie really feels like it gives critique on that culture that's built up, how football is perceived. And I think there's a phrase and a quote from this movie that summarizes it in perfect manner. In the movie, Marlon Wayne's character says that usually when people are talking about football, they have this quote that goes around saying that there's an order of how things go in regards to priority. It is God, family, and football. For him, he prioritizes football, family, then God. And I think that really encapsulates this film. Football in this movie is seen as this like all-encompassing thing that gives purpose to people and makes you go above and beyond who you are as an individual and can make you kind of do things that are out of your body and not normally who you are. And this film, for the most part, is showcasing Cameron Cade going into this compound and he's being made to be a person who he isn't. He's already a great football player, but he's getting a full understanding of what it's like to be in this professional football league and what it takes for him to be the GOAT in football. It's really interesting here. And I want to kind of break down the acting performances for a little bit, because this is an amazing movie. I think for most people, they came to this film because one, Jordan Peele's name was attached to it, and then two, one of the infamous Wayans brothers, being Marlon Wayans, was attached to this film as well. And he did an amazing job. I was always kind of skeptical in regards to like how well he can play a serious role, because again, the Wayans brothers are used to, they're the comedic gods within Hollywood. They do funny shit no matter what it is. So for him to come into this role to where he got to play a serious character and almost like a traumatic and traumatized character, but was also able to add a little bit of his own comedic flair within this, it was great. He did an amazing job. It felt like he was playing a character, but also still doing Marlon Wayne shit. It was kind of weird, almost like how a lot of people talk about how Denzel or Will Smith are played in or paid to be characters of themselves. They're paid to be themselves, essentially. But this felt like very much different, to where he was portraying a character, but also had a little bit of him show out, which is what you probably want for a lot of your main actors when you're looking at your leads. When looking at Tariq Withers, how do I put this? He doesn't stand out in the way that you would expect. He does an amazing job acting. I'm not saying that he's not a great actor whatsoever. He does an amazing job. But the way his character's written, it feels like he's supposed to be like this blank picture of a quarterback. Because I feel like in this story, the character of Cameron Cade is a character that, or a person that we've seen in real life all too many times. The all-star quarterback who is hyped up to be the next person, and they go into the league and they do whatever it may be, through whatever story it may be. There's a lot of people like this in real life that have been Cameron Cade. Initially, he's made to seem like he's a lot more caring, a lot more nurturing as a person, and honestly doesn't want to play football. He kind of goes through this thing that a lot of people within the South, and even in just sports in general in America, go through, to where sports are seen as this like godly thing that should be put on a pedestal, because it gives you the ability to change not just your life, but the lives of everyone around you. If you can make it out the hood and be a phenomenal athlete and go play for a professional league in a country, you're getting generational wealth that will get your family out of whatever bad situation they're in, and you can give back to your community. So it's always seen as this thing that everyone wants to strive for, but only a small percent of people get to actually obtain. So when you get a talent like a Cameron Cade, it's all more interesting at how he goes about the journey. And for him, he more so definitely feels like he's supposed to be a representation of a couple of different people within real life. And this kind of goes into what I talked about earlier in regards to people may get pissed off about this film, because obviously there's a whole light-skinned football quarterback thing where he's supposed to be like an allegory for Patrick Mahomes, NFL quarterback who has been very successful up to this point. He's an amazing player, and a lot of people were putting him in the conversation and comparing him to a Tom Brady, who definitely is supposed to be a character represented by, or be a person represented by Marlon Wayans' character Isaiah in this film, because he is I think in real life, I think Brady's 10-time Super Bowl champ. Isaiah in this film is an 8-time Super Bowl champ, and he's getting near the end of his career. And in this film, he's like having to relinquish the light over to Cameron Cade, and is that whole like push and pull aspect of it. Getting back into Cameron, he definitely not only feels like a representation of Patrick Mahomes, but I also see a little bit of LeBron James in there, and I'll tell you why. For people that are familiar with LeBron James' story, LeBron James has been a popular person and a popular athlete since he was like 14 years old, since he won a state title in high school, I believe. And LeBron, going into the NBA draft and going into the NBA, was gassed up to be the next one, literally called the chosen one all over media. Dude even got the chosen one tattooed across his back, across his shoulder blades. He was hyped up more than any athlete that I've ever seen in my entire lifetime, from the ages of 14 up until he went into the league at like 17, 18. So he was like hyped up to be the one. And this movie really tends to show like what that kind of pressure can possibly do to somebody who isn't ready for that. Obviously, LeBron handled that with relative poise, but with Cameron, you're seeing subtle things in regards to him maybe feeling like he's being suffocated. Like literally, there's literal shots within the film where I think like paparazzi pop up randomly, and you're seeing him getting choked out with a plastic bag, which again, you can say that's a literal thing, but I think obviously that's supposed to be representative and symbolic of how all that attention can feel suffocating at times. And you've seen a lot of different athletes and celebrities talk about that in regards to their ability to do normal stuff and why they feel like that. Hell, Michael Jackson went to go like rent out an entire grocery store with actors just so he could go see what it felt like to shop in a grocery store, because he'd never been able to do that. A lot of lines in this film that are very, very important and indicative of how athletes in a Cameron Cade's position feel when they're going through like the combine or going through their life of being a professional athlete. There's another scene in this film that I think really, really encapsulates the message, or one of the messages that are being pushed within the film. Marlon Wayne's character Isaiah sits down in a sauna with Tyree Withers' character Cameron Cade, and he asks him this. He says, if you are a starving prisoner in a jail and people come to you and give you the option of a meal or freedom, do you really have a choice? At least the way I interpreted this was that when you're in a bad situation, like a person in the hood, or in a bad economic situation, and you're a gifted athlete and you're starving for want to get out of this situation, any option seems like a good option. So you jump and bite at the first thing. And that leads to you being able to be manipulated by the higher powers that be. Because this film also speaks on a lot of the difficulties that athletes face when these older white men who are team owners or GMs or general managers of these leagues, or even agents of these leagues and of these players, are kind of preying on the next young athlete, like scouting them out. We find out in the film that by the end of it, that this group of people that are damn near like the Illuminati, they're like the owners of this team, or like the people that are higher up in this team, they've been grooming Cameron since he was literally born, having his father push him into not just being a football fan, but a fan of this specific team, up until the point to where he would want to play for this team and play football no matter what. It's something that is not 100% one-to-one in regards to real life scenarios, but I've seen a lot of different people in my lifetime from living it and seeing it from going through middle school to high school, and then hearing stories of kids that have like trainers or agents at like 14 years old because they're still showing like athletic prowess that's a tier above all the other kids their age. So they're already grooming them to be like these next level superstars. And it's just something that just feels a little sick to me, because you're not allowing these kids to be kids and enjoying this kids game as a kids game. You're immediately like jumping them into being a professional and trying to get them into this world. And it just, again, it always rubbed me the wrong way seeing it in real time. But going through this movie, it was so interesting the way it was depicted from people who had been through the system, and someone in Isaiah who's a character who is like 20 years into the game or near the end of his course of it, and he just has this sense of, it feels like withdrawal, where he doesn't want to give up this fame and this lifestyle, but also a hint of trauma where he has some regrets in regards to how he got in it. He literally has a moment where he asked Cameron to be better than him, like be great in a different way, not in the way that I went about it. And I want to speak about the way that he went about it, because in this film, we find out that not only is Cameron asked to come to this compound to train, he's brought to this compound to become him. And essentially him is, from what I interpret, like the host of a demon, or the abilities of the devil for the most part. He essentially is getting pumped up with blood of Isaiah, who is also pumped up with blood from his mentor and his mentor before him. Because in this football league, in this world, there's always one player who stands above the rest that has like this superhuman, almost like boost, to where he doesn't get hurt, he doesn't get fatigued, and is able to do superhuman stuff and is be the best player there is. And every generation, there's a new player that comes along to take on the ability. And in this film, we feel like the entire movie, we're seeing Cameron being pumped up with Isaiah's blood. And this all culminates to them having this one-on-one face-off for like the true alpha to be him, only for the person to win, to go back into the spotlight and sign another contract with the GM or the owners of the team to be him again for that franchise and be a generational winner. Now, there for me, in the ending of this movie is a little bit of a confusion. And I'm only confused as because I feel like there are aspects of football in itself that I'm just not aware of, or maybe like other people who are some characters we're supposed to be representative of. We have the moment where they're asking Cameron to sign this contract to essentially sign his life over to this franchise for however long he can go. And Cameron decides to take the Miles Morales road and say, nah, I'm gonna do my own thing. And he proceeds to like massacre the ownership of this team and like his own agent and things of that nature and leads off. But the agent, because he doesn't kill the agent. The agent seems as though he is getting his comeuppance because he maybe failed his end of the deal with the devil, it seems like, because I think this is where the movie kind of does a little bit of a representative thing. It seems like Justin Tipper is kind of doing a similar thing to Jack Krieger and what he did with Barbarian or with Weapons recently, where things happen, but the synopsis or like the story or characters aren't meant to be explained thoroughly. It's more supposed to be a concept of something. The way the movie ends really definitely feels like it plays really similar to like how a movie like Jennifer's Body ended, where a character goes through all this stuff and ends up with the powers of a demon essentially and is able to go out and do their own thing. Because they very much so, it feels like heavily imply that Cameron did not sign the contract and sign his soul over for the most part to this team, but he still got the blood from Isaiah and like has the abilities of him, and he's going to go off to be the GOAT essentially, and maybe not have to pass on his abilities. I don't know. We probably won't get a sequel to it. I don't think we need a sequel to it, but that's how I took it for. That's how I perceived the film. The devil and the demonic aspect of it and then the actual like big horror piece of it was cool, but it really wasn't the important message in it. And there's a lot to be said about this film and how sports are treated in this country and how people and kids who get into the sport are also depicted. Especially from middle school to college to the NFL. And I think there's a lot of conversation to be had here. I honestly wholeheartedly believe in like the next week or so, we're gonna have a lot of stuff in the news cycle in regards to different owners or athletes kind of speaking bad on the movie, or the NFL maybe not looking on the movie as friendly and giving it a positive reception because it's giving negative perspectives on what these people in these leagues and these sports do to the players and the people that are involved in them. Let me know if you agree with me as well in regards to my thoughts on the film. Are there any other bits of symbolism that you caught that I didn't catch? And just in general, how do you feel about this movie? For me, this was a solid like 9 out of 10, maybe like a 9.5. I really enjoyed this. I think it had a lot of really well-written moments and symbolism, and again, this like Jordan Peele-esque moments of the film that I really enjoy from projects like this with Monkey Paw, and even down to like just like the promotional stuff. Again, having something like this made was just dope to see for me. Like it just shows the detail and like the extra mile that went into a film like this. And Jordan Peele and Monkey Paw, they did their thing with this. This is an amazing film. Again, if you guys have made it this far in the video, please like the video, because obviously you like it if you made it this far. Subscribe to the video, and there's also this new function that YouTube has been rolling out with videos that they call a hype button, or like you're being able to hype the video. It essentially is lets you like, I guess, giving free coins of some sort that you get each week to a video to help push, and it really does a lot for smaller creators. So I would really appreciate if you would hype this video to kind of get my video out and my content out to more people. And again, if this is your first time here, your first video of mine that you're watching, please go watch more of my stuff. I'm Captain Diesel. I cover things from comic books, movies, especially horror movies, some video game stuff, and just overall artistry and writing and just things in general. So again, I really would appreciate if you guys would give me your time of day to check out my channel, and just, you know, if you want to be a supporter, be a supporter. And again, if you guys are interested in seeing anything I have to say outside of the YouTube channel, there are links to all my social media platforms in the description below, from Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff. It's in the description below, as well as a link to join my Discord community, where I'm usually at pretty often each day. So you'll see me in there playing video games with friends or interacting with people in the community, maybe having watch parties and things of that nature. So join up and you can be a part of a community of like-minded people that just talk about dope stuff and just are dope people in general. So again, this has been Captain Diesel of Captain Diesel's Dojo. Again, remember, forever and always,
You're now watching the Captain.
and I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Be good people. I'm him. H-I-M.